Have you ever been overwhelmed by the task of memorizing your scales? I mean, come on. There's 12 major scales alone. Add to that 3 different types of minor scales, 12 for each of those types. Suffice it to say, it's a ton of material. What if I told you you didn't have to memorize your scales? What if you just knew how they were built and you always had the materials on hand to build them? You can do just that, and that's what I'm here to show you. So here's the lowdown. You don't need many things in order to build your scales. The first tool that you need, you've had basically since you were able to talk. I'm talking about your alphabet. So you probably already know that the musical alphabet is the letters A to G. What you may not know is that your basic scales travel that alphabet from one letter to the next, always. Meaning you're not going to have 2 B's in a row, not even B's of different types, B and then B flat, or D then D sharp. You're never going to have 2 of the same letter in a row. The next thing that you need to know is that a scale is basically 2 layers. Layer 1 is that alphabet we talked about. Layer 2 acts as a filter that the alphabet passes through. Some letters get through unscathed. Other letters are changed as they pass through that filter. That filter is called the key signature. This video is all about learning your key signatures and how to use them to build your scales. Here we go.
Okay, we will begin with the cycle of fourths and fifths, often referred to as the circle of fourths and fifths. It looks like this. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a lot of information. This can be used for numerous practices, but for today, we're going to concern ourselves with just this outer circle right here. The inner circle has a lot to tell us, but we'll talk about that at a later date. But this outer circle here contains all 12 keys, all 12 musical keys. So you could think of each of these as a scale. We've got C major, we've got F major, B flat major, E flat major, and so on and so forth, all the way around to G major. We're going to use this chart as a way to determine the key signature of each of these scales. So what's a key signature anyway? Well, all scales of the same type, in this video's case, major scales, follow the same pattern. The key signature is sort of the code or the procedure that we must follow in order to achieve that pattern from each individual note or starting place. It's as if I gave you directions from your house to the nearest grocery store, but I also gave you directions from your friend's house across town to the same grocery store. The end result is the same, but the procedure is different. That's what a key signature is. It is the directions from a specific starting place or note to achieve a major scale in this case, or a minor scale in another case. You'll see key signatures represented in written music right after the clef. They look like this. Let's build a few scales together to illustrate this process. Step 1, choose a starting note and say the musical alphabet. So as I said before, the notes of a major scale just follow the musical alphabet from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, continuing back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's like a continuous loop. And it's the same order of letters no matter what your starting note is. So if you take a look at this chart, if I were to start here on C, it's C up the alphabet, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. For F major, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So for step 1, just choose a starting note from the outer circle of the cycle of fourths and fifths. And from that letter, say the musical alphabet. Just right through the loop of the musical alphabet. Every time you get to G, starting over at A and ending at the letter that you started on, and that will have completed one octave of the scale in question. And for now, just ignore flats and sharps. So just through the loop of the musical alphabet, starting on whichever note you've chosen. Step 2. Determine the key signature and add it to your segment of the musical alphabet. You may find yourself asking, what about key signatures? What about flats and sharps? Well, the answers are all contained in this chart. We're only going to look at this outside circle here, not the inner circle. And right here up at the top middle in 12 o'clock position, we're going to consider this 0 for this chart, because C major has 0 flats or sharps. Now the thing to know here is expressed by these arrows is that every slot you move to the left, 1 flat is added. Every slot you move to the right, 1 sharp is added. So that would mean this has 1 flat, this has 2 flats, this has 3 flats, and so on and so forth. Going in the opposite direction, this has 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, and so on. So just the way that I said it a moment ago, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that's the C major scale. You likely already knew that. Let's build the F major scale. So again, if C major is 0, having 0 flats and sharps, we'll move to the left 1 slot, and according to our arrow here, we'll add 1 flat. So we add 1 flat. Well, how do we know what flat to add? Zoom down here to the bottom, and we've got the order of flats and sharps. So flats are added from left to right here. So the first flat that would be added is B. So if a scale has 1 flat, which we determined, this has 0, we move to the left, we add 1. If we add 1 flat, which flat is it? It's the first one down here, B flat. So this scale would be spelled just the alphabet, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, but we have to add that flat when we get to B. So F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So you just add the key signature to the alphabet. It's that simple. Let's try another key. First, choose a starting note, then say the musical alphabet. Ignore flats and sharps for this first step. So we'll do B flat this time. So the musical alphabet starting on B would be B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Step 2. Determine the key signature and add it to the segment of the musical alphabet that you're working with. So we'll take that section of the alphabet and we'll add to it the appropriate flats or sharps associated. So since we're over here, we're 2 slots to the left of 0, we're going to add 2 flats. What 2 flats will they be? So again, you go down here to the order of flats and sharps. You see flats are added from left to right. The first 2 flats, since we're adding 2, are what we'll use, B and E flat. So that makes the B flat major scale B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. So let's go over onto the sharp side and let's do A major. This is great because it starts on the first letter of the alphabet. So you just, as before, say the musical alphabet starting on the note that you've chosen. So in this case, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So next we'll determine the key signature. In order to get over here to A, we've moved from 0, or C, to 1, 2, 3 slots to the right. And as you see here, Every slot that we move to the right, we add 1 sharp. So this is 1, 2, 3 sharps. So what sharps are they? Going down here to the bottom, you see that the sharps arrow goes from right to left. So if there are 3 sharps, we go from right to left. We have F, C, and G. F, C, and G sharp. So we just add these 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, to the section of the alphabet that we've chosen to build a scale on, which happens to start on the first letter of the alphabet, lucky us. So the scale becomes A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. It's that simple. First say the alphabet, then add the key signature. Thanks for watching.
Bye.